All right, well, welcome everybody to Breaking Ground in Denver, the Kelley School of Business Entrepreneurial Panel event. My name is Lance Mathews. I'm the current market leader for the Kelley Leadership Network here in Denver, and I'll be one of your co-moderators this evening. This event is the first of many connectivity and networking events we are planning to host to build the Kelley Alumni Network here in Denver and more broadly in Colorado. So if you're interested in getting more involved, please feel free to reach out. I'll post my contact information in the chat at the end of this event.
Excellent. Thank you, Lance. My name is Jason. I'm one of the current alumni leaders for the Kelley Leadership Network in Denver, as well as Colorado. A few housekeeping items before we begin. We do want to let everyone know that this event is being recorded. Will be available for viewing after the event at a later date. This event will start off as a panel discussion with 4 incredible Kelley alums that have so graciously agreed to join us this evening from all parts of the country. Some are traveling, and we really appreciate you all taking the time to be here this evening. Later, we'll open up to Q&A for attendees to ask questions. Please feel free to enter any questions throughout the night, and Sarah, our staff member at Kelley, will make sure that we get to them. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Jason. Well, let's start off with introducing our 4 panelists this evening. So first off is alumna Karen Frame. She is the CEO, founder, and general counsel for Makeena. Makeena is a certified B Corp Boulder-based company app that helps you find and afford healthier foods, eco-friendly products, and with each purchase, users can earn rewards from affiliated brands. Welcome, Karen.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's fun to be here.
Thanks for joining us and making the time. Next is Chaz Shelton. Chaz is the founder and a board member of the Merchants Garden Agrotech. This is a company whose mission is to make fresh foods accessible and affordable to everyone using aquaponics and hydroponics. So let's welcome Chaz as well.
Hey, go Hoosiers. Thanks for having me.
Go Hoosiers. Great day today to be a Hoosier. Next is Adam Sherry, principal at Sarvis Creek Partners and co-founder and board member of Evolve, a vacation rental management company that finds a more modern and accessible approach to vacation rentals. Welcome, Adam. Look forward to hearing from you this evening. And last but not least is Rhett Trees, founder, CEO, and CCO at Seneca Capital Partners. Seneca specializes in real estate assets and capital management for a variety of clients. Welcome to Rhett. Thank you for being a great Kelley alum.
You bet, guys. Pleasure to be here.
All right, well, let's jump right into this. So again, thanks everybody for being here and taking the time. I know it's starting to get late and you guys might be hungry, but we have a lot of good stories to hear. So I think, well, let's just start out with our first question to this group. How did your time at Kelley set you each up for success in these unique entrepreneurial spaces?
Do you want us to go in a particular order at all, or just chime in?
Take it away, Karen.
Okay. Well, the cool thing about Kelley, and I think I'm older than everybody else on the panel, unfortunately, I have to say that. We had A Corp and B Corp at the time, and for me, it really gave me a whole flavor of what business is about. So everything from production to operations to marketing to sales. I was an accounting major, so to finance. And that has helped me understand how a company actually runs and how to build it from the ground up. We also had our B case study way back when. I think it was called B case study. It's been a long time. And that also helped me really figure out the ins and outs of really how a business grows. So I'm sure everybody can add to that.
Yeah, for me, it's relationships, right? I mean, the best part about going to Kelley for me was just the people that I met. I mean, every single person, to a man or woman, has just been so instrumental in my life. In fact, Jen Goins, who runs kind of the Kelley Alumni Association right now, she was one of my friends back then. If it wasn't for Adam Sherry on this actual call, my life would have gone in an incredibly different trajectory It was through his grace and friendship that he allowed me to come work with him at Exclusive Resorts, which was a huge part of my life. I met my wife there. So, those are just a couple of examples of why going to Kelley changed the trajectory of my life as someone who grew up incredibly humbly, in a rural town of Indiana, and never imagined that I'd be in Denver or on this call for that matter.
Yeah, hey, I went to IU for my MBA, and I actually came out to Colorado between my first and second year of business school, and I met Karin there. I learned exactly, hey, what does it look like to start a company, and most of all, just kind of the courage to actually maybe jump into this wild venture myself. And so I actually went back to IU my second year. And at that time, we had the IU Best competition, which was a $100,000 business plan competition. And so I was fortunate enough actually to be a recipient of that award. And so I have 25 unique investors in my business right now, and every single one of them is a Hoosier. So they continue to mentor me, invest in me financially, but also as an individual. And my CFO for my company is a classmate from business school. So, we're 100% an IU company.
I'll end with me being probably the least impressive academic background on the call right now. I think I was invited by accident. I'm a business minor, but no, obviously have a tremendous amount of allegiance to IU and Kelley. So I, interestingly, was a telecom major, Spanish and business minors. So you can sort of deduce that I had no freaking clue what I wanted to do after college, but I was going to try a lot of different things. And the business aspect of my education, I think, provided a good foundation and stuff that I borrowed from 3 startups now later, and was certainly valuable. In retrospect, I wish I had spent a lot more time and probably majored in it, because I think it probably would have lent well to some of the things that I had to burn my feet on the coals on, and learn from in real time, which is a dangerous way to do it. But to Rhett's point, and I think a few others, the network has been huge, meaning Rhett and several others, frankly, along the way that worked at our first company, Exclusive Resorts. And then also someone who I worked with now at 3 different startups and is a key leadership team member at Evolve, most recent company that I started. He is a close friend from IU days and Kelley alum as well. He may even be on this call, frankly. So
Becker.
Becker. Yeah, the relationships from the Kelley school have been pretty strong and instrumental in throughout my career too.
Well, that's amazing. It sounds like from education to networking to even some local funding, you guys have been set up to success pretty nicely by Kelley. Well, let's move on to another question that maybe isn't about Indiana. What were some of the driving factors for you to locate in Colorado? And secondly, how did you make that transition from IU, Indiana lifestyle to the Denver, Colorado area?
I'll give you guys a quick story if you don't mind. So I was at Fiji at Indiana, and my last semester of my senior year, Bank of America, in their infinite wisdom, sent a credit card to me with my name on it with $26,600 as the credit limit. And me, in my infinite wisdom, I chose to go spend every dime of that money in Europe. So I went to Europe for about 8 months, and I spent every dime. And I did a little walkabout, and I highly recommend it to anybody that is graduating right now. It gave me the foundation for everything I've built on since that time. But I came back broke, and Owens Corning hired me, thank the Lord. And I told him I'd only come back to the States if they sent me to Denver, Colorado. And I had never been past St. Louis. My parents still live on our 4th generation farm in Frankfurt. They've never lived outside of Frankfurt. I was a cyclist at the time, and I decided that this is the Mecca for American cycling. And I thought, man, I'll move out there. I thought I was going to go to Boulder. I didn't. I ended up in Glendale. But I'll move there and I'll meet so many people through cycling, and I'll just get so dialed in. And I didn't know a soul when I moved to Denver in '97. And thankfully convinced 3 of my Fiji friends to move out here. And my rule was that they could come and live at my house or my apartment at the time, rent-free until they found a job. And I think 4, if not 5 guys took me up on that. And it's the brightest thing I've ever done, because it got me my friend group out here, and we've just built this great ecosystem of not only Hoosiers, but Denverites that none of us are from Denver. The interesting thing you'll note about Denver. And so the ecosystem is so based on inclusion and involvement. And I think this town runs on like 3,000 people. So if you're willing and you're able and you are out there and make yourself available, there's so many good people in this town. And that's the reason why it's been so successful as a growth city for mainly millennials recently, but for all of us, because we've all been so engaged in the ecosystem.
I spent a lot of time at that house with Rhett. It was a really fun house.
That's true. Good memories there.
Yeah, a lot of them. I guess I'm talking anyway, so I may as well go into how things manifested on my end. So the quick story is graduated, managed to find a job at IU for a marketing company. It was like 100 and some year old marketing company in Chicago, out of school, and you're supposed to move to Chicago after Indiana. So I did that, and spent about 9 months working there, put on my tie every morning, and it was a great company. Was not, and I did learn a lot, so I don't want to speak ill of it, but was not the most inspiring environment for me. And I happened to come out to Vail, or it was Vail, I think, for a ski trip. 9 months into my Chicago tenure, met an entrepreneur who said, come by my office, if you're interested in learning about startups, which I hadn't had a lot of exposure to, frankly. Like mid-90s, we didn't get a lot of like entrepreneurial startup-y curriculum and exposure. It was sort of a foreign thing back then. So he brought me by his office. It was like dogs walking around. There were only like 5 or 6 of them, half of them were barefoot. And, it was just like a really, the desks were literally like Dell boxes stacked up. And he was like, I don't know, what's going to happen here. We just closed some funding, but I think it's going to be pretty fun. Why don't you go back to Chicago, quit your job, and move out here and be my first salesperson? And I was like, okay, that sounds awesome. And I literally went home to Chicago, quit my job, packed up a U-Haul. Parents said I was crazy, and drove out here to start with him 2 weeks later. And, the rest is history. That was in 1999. This was like right in the heart of the dot-com boom that was happening. And Denver was sort of becoming an emerging sort of market for entrepreneurial activity in the dot-com and telecom space at the time. So that's what brought me out here.
Wow. So I had a kind of a different path. After IU, I worked in Chicago for a year, but I knew I wanted to go to law school because I wanted to save the world. So I went to, oh my gosh, Illinois, sorry guys, for law school.
Ooh.
And yeah, boo, right? But my former husband and I came out to Colorado. We visited with his sister in Louisville, and we just fell in love with it. We were in Boulder, and it was a college town. And I actually grew up in Champaign. So I'm kind of a college town kind of, faculty brat is probably the best way to say it. And I actually interviewed to teach in the School of Business at University of Colorado. So that kind of got me out to Colorado. And then I have never regretted it. It has been the best thing. I will, no offense to those folks that are still in the Midwest, I will never go back. I love my parents, but anyway, that's what got me out here.
Same.
That's funny. Hey, so I'm actually I've only been a official Colorado resident for 9 months now. Yeah, believe it or not, I'm actually down here in Durango, Colorado, and as I had mentioned, I came here in between my first and second year of business school, and I really wanted to, I really wanted to get into the entrepreneurial kind of venture capital world, and was doing a ton of research, and I found this little accelerator out in Telluride. Yeah, Karin knows. Yeah, and I was like, what? Like, I can do an internship and like live and work in Telluride. So I just emailed them and said, like, I'll come, you don't have to pay me, like, pay me whatever you could. And so I came out, and I actually was out there for almost 6 months, and just absolutely fell in love with this part of Colorado, fell in love with entrepreneurs, and just was like, I've got to do this. And so went back to IU, was able to kind of secure some capital. And then we launched our company down in Tucson. I met my wife the first month that I was there. And so we ended up getting married in Telluride. And, I made a promise to her, like, hey, we're going to come back and we're going to live in this region. And so it's taken 5 years for me to kind of true up on that promise, but here we are. And we've never been more in love with the community than the one we're in right now.
I have to just add, my husband and I got married outside of Telluride as well. So it's a great marriage spot.
Yeah, love is in the air out here, that's for sure.
That's excellent. That's great. Thank you guys so much. It just goes to show there's no one single path, and there's so many journeys we can all learn from each other. Keeping it a little light, what do you all like to do for fun? And if it's snow sports, what's your favorite mountain here? I think I know some people's favorite mountain, but let's go around the horn.
I like going to all the music venues. Red Rocks is super cool. It's a great music venue. I miss all the live music. I'm looking forward to kind of being part of that again. The film festivals are super fun. Again, I used to volunteer at the Telluride Film Festival. Surprise, surprise. That is like super awesome. Just great film, great people, kind of fun with celebrities and whatnot. And my favorite mountain, surprise, surprise, is Telluride.
Do you ski or snowboard?
I ski.
Okay, great. Nice.
I'm a ski biker. So my favorite hill in Colorado is McCoy Park, which is a new part of Bachelor Gulch, which is pretty sick if you like to jump and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, that's a sweet little part of Bachelor Gulch. But like Karin, I am a huge fan and supporter of live music. I'm a music promoter on the side for fun. I throw a concert every year. It used to be called the Backyard Party. It's now called Grateful Trees. That we bring in Grammy Award-winning musicians from all over the world and throw a free party once a year for everyone in Denver at Levitt Pavilion. I'm on the board of Levitt Pavilion here in Denver. It's outdoor music theater that's just fantastic. And then I'm a huge fly fisherman. So anybody ever wants to go fly fishing, I'd love to host you at my club. It's world-class waters here just outside of Denver in Bailey. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll have to hit you up for that. I've never been. I coordinated our entire executive team to go, but I've never been. So, but they loved it. Chaz, what about you?
Yeah. I mean, it's a playground out here. There's too much fun to be had, and I'm partial to the San Juans, Telluride. I love the peaks out here. I love ski, snowboard. I love climbing. I love mountaineering. That's kind of what brought me out here initially, and so. I mean, any sport, fly fishing, all of it. There's truly too much fun to have out here, which is made for a great kind of work-life balance for my family and I.
Last but not least, the king of vacation. What do we got, Adam?
Sure. Man of leisure.
Right. Man of leisure. I like that a lot more. Man of leisure.
Professional man of leisure. So I don't know. There's probably nothing new and surprising here. We're huge skiers in our family. So I have 3 kids, a wife and 3 kids. We all are obsessive about skiing. So the kids are on some ski teams in Vail. So we head up there every weekend for the core part of the season. But our heart and our kind of real happy place is Steamboat. So we do try to hit that kind of over the holidays and spend a lot of time there in the summer. There's a lake there that we do a lot. I am also a big fly fisherman and spend a lot of time on the Yampa River there, fly fishing in the summer. The kids can water ski and wakeboard on the lake, Catamount there as well. It's the closest thing to, well, that and Grand Lake are the closest things to the Midwest that we've been able to find here. And my wife grew up in Chicago. I grew up in Milwaukee. So being on a lake and water is something we miss, but we get our fix in Steamboat. So
Yeah,
Great.
we used to have well, not a house. We had land in Grand Lake right between Shadow Mountain and Grand Lake, and I used to race yachts there. It
yep.
was the yacht club. If you
Yeah,
want to
my
call
son
it
took
that.
sailing lessons there.
It's super
Yacht club.
fun. Yeah, exactly. And just so you know, it's not just all Vail and Steamboat Springs and Telluride. We also had a house in Tabernash. And so we were huge fans of Winter Park because it was super low key place to go skiing. It's not all fancy. Maybe it's fancy now. But since I'm a founder, we had to sell our house, but it was super cool place to go ski. So.
That's incredible. I will say nothing beats a pontoon rental on Lake Monroe, but those are some pretty good second choices.
Yeah, those are some activities I wasn't expecting to hear. Colorado water is very cold, and I didn't know they had yacht racing. And then Rhett, you got to let us know about that concert. That's something I'd be very interested in.
Yeah, you bet. We had Humphreys McGee, the lead singer, Brendan Bayless, come play here last year. We've had members of Trey Anastasio band. We've had tons of New Orleans bands come. So we're actually talking about maybe Dawes, if anybody knows Dawes, or the Marcus King band for this summer. So I'll keep everybody in tune in regards to who we book for this summer.
That's fantastic. So I think you've told us a little bit about some of the extracurriculars that you guys are involved in, from fun and then also volunteering. But can we expand on that a little bit? So are you guys part of any social or professional networks in these local communities? And then, you know, if you want, how could some of the others on this Zoom call get involved with those communities?
Yeah, I'll go first. I was in the Entrepreneurs organization for a long time, for 6 years, almost 7 years, and was on the board of EO Colorado. It is a fantastic organization for anyone who both is newly starting or is kind of in, you know, what we call the messy middle when you're an entrepreneur. So it was incredibly helpful for me regarding the tools, you know, what to do, how to do it. It's they utilize Gestalt feedback, which is very helpful. It's a way to give someone feedback about your experience doing something that's similar without giving advice. And it's way more helpful than you can imagine. I've since matriculated to YPO here in Colorado. I highly encourage anyone who's able to join YPO. If they meet the threshold, it is the best organization on the planet as far as I'm concerned. And I was lucky enough just to roll off of the board, the alumni board at Kelley School. So I went back 4 times a year for 3 years and got to know Sarah incredibly well, and Allison and Jen. And it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life to meet other Kelleys and to give back to our current and alumni students, something I'm really passionate about. So I highly encourage anyone to get on that ladder because it's so incredibly rewarding and on multiple fronts.
Do you have any fun stories from going back to IU, or any success stories from being involved? Maybe not so successful as involved?
I think Sarah would probably make me tell this story, so I'll tell it. We were, so we always went to Nick's. We always had a educational dinner on the Friday night that we were there, and then we always went to Nick's, and I was the libations chair for the Kelley School Board. And in my infinite wisdom, we're all whiskey drinkers, so we didn't want to play Sink the Biz with beer. So I convinced Nick's to sell me a bottle of Jim Beam. They had a special that night. It was 99 cents. And we went up to the bartender and asked him how many shots were in a bottle. So I basically paid, I don't even know what it was, but it was not very much for a bottle of Jim Beam. And we played Sink the Biz with Jim Beam.
Sounds very dangerous.
It was fun. I don't remember anything after we got the bottle, but it was fun.
Everybody wins, right? At that,
Right?
at
Yeah.
that game.
You know, some of the organizations that, you know, I personally have been involved with, or my company has, we're a sponsor of Colorado Food Works. We're a sponsor of Naturally Boulder. Those are great organizations. If you have a startup that's in the CPG space, specifically around better for you, better for the planet. So natural, organic, fair trade, non-GMO. I've been a judge for Techstars. Techstars is a great organization that was originally founded out of Boulder, and it's worldwide now. Everybody knows about Techstars for the most part. And, you know, I did also this Telluride Venture Accelerator and Telluride. So that was a great network for me. That's where I met Chaz in 2014. But there is so much opportunity to be part of organizations in the community where you can, just like, you know, what Rhett said, where you can grow and you can learn and you can network. It's sort of rare to see an IU alum, so it's great to see everybody on this Zoom call. But those are some experiences I've had.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, I'm still getting the lay of the land out here. Only 9 months deep in, but yeah, I do a number of advocacy work for farmers across the country. Still involved with a number of those. I sit on the IU or the Shoebox Fund Advisory Investment Committee, which invests in IU startup businesses. But yeah, I'm actually excited to learn, I guess, a little bit more about the Colorado and entrepreneurial community from y'all here.
Are there some areas that you're targeting to get more involved in, Chaz?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of stuck out here in the corner. I'd love to get up to Boulder. I hear things are great in Denver. It's always wonderful. So I know there's tons to offer up in that space. So I'd love to connect there.
One of the things I'd recommend for folks that are listening in that are anxious to sort of get some exposure to sort of the startup ecosystem or investors or other entrepreneurs and be inspired by some content and what have you. Denver Startup Week is probably one of the most mind-blowing week-long sort of celebrations of all things entrepreneurial that's put on. Is totally free. And it's something like, I know it's the biggest version of this in the US, which is pretty cool because it taps into Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins, et cetera. And something like 20,000 people come, and there's free content, seminars on different topics related to entrepreneurship or fundraising or, developing culture. I've been a speaker at a couple of different sessions there, and Evolve has been sort of a big corporate supporter of it, providing both content and venues and what have you. And you literally just hop around the city and pop into a company's, lobby where someone's giving a speech on, how to put together a pitch deck for, your Series Seed, right? And so I know the bent of this call is, a focus on all things entrepreneurial in Denver, and that's like, I think it's like the second or third week of September, but that's like Mecca for anyone interested in stuff like this. So I highly encourage getting involved in it.
Yeah, to tag on to what Adam just said, there's the same thing in Boulder. It's a lot smaller. I'm not saying it's more intimate, but it is more intimate, and the ecosystem obviously in Denver is a lot bigger than it is in Boulder, but it's a great place as well to do a startup week. Yeah, love it.
That's incredible. Well, let's all keep in touch, and maybe we could do a networking event during that week or something, so we could all meet. That'd be awesome.
It's a good call.
Let us know. So wanted to ask you, it's kind of a two-part question. So what motivates you all to be an entrepreneur? And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, the current climate today, right? Pandemics, wars, labor. I mean, there are already so many challenges starting a business, and then the world's right behind you with everything else. So what motivates you, what motivated you to kind of start and to also continue, and where do you find the perseverance to keep going? It's a lot heavier than what's your favorite mountain, but I think it would love to hear you guys' thoughts.
Yeah, if you guys don't mind, I'll jump in. I grew up pretty humble beginnings, and I had the chip on my shoulder. And my chip told me, it was really my ego. My ego told me that if I could grow and sell a business, that anyone who ever came in contact with me would think of me as successful. And that was always something that was important to me, because my ego had lied to me my whole life. And so I had my first revolution that may not be true when Adam and I worked together at Exclusive Resorts. And I always tied my personal net worth, my personal worth, intrinsic worth, to what I was doing. And that's an improper way to look at entrepreneurship, if you ask me, based on my journey. So that was one initial hit for me. And then we built and sold the second largest mobile self-storage company in the country, called 1-800-PACK-RAT. We sold that the last day of 2009 for $92 million to Waste Management. And the first day of 2010, I woke up and I was in the biggest depression of my life, because I had tied my personal net worth again more in depth to that particular environment. And I then had no ability to know who I was, why I was, or what I was. And so I took 6 months, I retired for 6 months, and I looked into the abyss for 6 months. And I gave myself permission to do that heavy work around those 3 questions. And I came out the other side with a pretty simple answer. I put it on all my jackets. It's to touch someone's soul today. And so that took away my ego. It took away me wanting something transactional from everybody I came in contact with. And from that day forward, I committed my life to relationships, building relationships with people. And I hardly ever talk about business anymore. And it's changed my entrepreneurial trajectory in my life. It's changed everything about me, spiritually, personally. It almost dissipated the chip on my shoulder. And so I think when you're starting a business, I have a daily mission statement, which is to do epic shit. I have a personal mission statement, which is to touch someone's soul. And I have a business mission statement, which is to do the right thing with the right people for the right reasons. And so if I can just stay in source energy for me, or just stay authentic, my entrepreneurial ventures all do incredibly well, because I'm just being me, and people are drawn to that or they're not, which is fine, but I'm just going forward. So I'd encourage people to do some of that work before you start whatever it is that you want to do, because it will give you the fuel, and those principles will be the foundation for every decision that you make. And as long as you're staying authentic, you'll be successful.
Here. I agree on being authentic. I have a very different story. I mean, there were a number of things in my life that led me to my 3 startups. So this is my 3rd startup as a founder CEO. And the biggest, I guess, switch for me was when I grew up in a lake across the street from a cornfield in central Illinois, and everybody in my family got sick or died. And so I realized that it was really important what you put in and on your body. And so my whole thing about Makeena and one of the other companies I started was educating consumers about better products and then incentivizing them to buy better. So, you know, Makeena's we're very mission driven. I'm very passionate about this space. I wake up every day not hating at all what I do. I actually love what I do. When I was a lawyer and I was a general counsel for other companies, I didn't always feel that way. And so I'm building something really special. I know I can affect the lives of people throughout the world and hopefully help create a cleaner planet as well. So that's kind of what drives me. I mean, it's a different story than Rhett's, but it's a story that I have found as a founder really helps me get to the next level every step of the way. So that's what I'm going to say, and I'm going to stick to it.
As you should.
Yeah, I mean, those are two actually amazing stories and inspiring. And I think my inspiration to jump into this world of entrepreneurship also started with IU kind of folks. We, in kind of the MBA program, they have this week in Silicon Valley, and they bring in entrepreneurs that are only like, you know, only Hoosiers, only IU alumni. And it was the first time in my life that I got in a room, you know, with a billionaire or somebody who said, I had nothing and I started this company, and I was an IU student, right? I was in your classes, I was in your school, on your campus. And that to me was the first time where I was like, holy smokes, like I want to, like, that's what I want to do with my life. Like, I want to build something that didn't exist and create something from nothing. And you know, the mission of our business is to make fresh food accessible and affordable. And so, you know, I'm going to be chasing, you know, solving that problem, hopefully for the rest of my life. Well, I guess not hopefully for the rest of my life, but I anticipate that's not something I'm going to solve, but I'm so excited to be able to actually chase after that with the rest of my days here on this planet. I think I'm just hungry, and I think entrepreneurship is the outlet for me to be able to express that hunger.
Oh, these are awesome and humbling. I was just thinking back on what I was referring to earlier when I was an undergrad and had no clue what I wanted to do. Candidly, like, my impression of a career in business was you put on a suit, go climb the ladder at a Fortune 500 company, you know, and eventually work your way up to some status and retire at 65 and play golf. And part of why I had such a diverse group of interests and degrees, telecom, Spanish, business, all of that, was like, I wasn't inspired by that. I was much more sort of interested in creative, you know, messy, sort of like, I want to go build things. And again, like, mid 90s, that was not in vogue. It was like, what was in vogue was like, go get the job where you can put on a suit every day and go, you know, climb the ladder and get paid well and feel good about yourself. And so when I visited Colorado, met that entrepreneur, saw the office, new round of funding, totally messy, problems everywhere, but we're on a mission and we're going to go take over the world with this e-learning startup at the time, you know, during the dot-com boom. I was just like, oh my gosh, we can go build something meaningful and like literally change people's lives with whatever we're creating over there on those Dell boxes, you know, like, and the dog walking by, like, this is like what I can get out of bed for every day. And so I just became really energized by the prospect of like having a mission and values and, you know, the prospect of creating something that was going to impact people's lives. And that business ended up folding after 2 years. The dot-com bust happened, and, you know, we ended up, you know, I was helping the founder haul furniture out, and we were getting evicted and what have you. But I'm now 2 startups later and have the same level of energy. It's just like the idea that we can go create something meaningful that impacts lives is like, it's hard to come by. It's hard to replicate that if you're not pursuing something entrepreneurial. So that's what gets me excited about it.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of passion and even some soul searching over there, Rhett, that went into a lot of the success or the drive of you guys to take on these adventures. But let's talk about something a little bit, maybe not as happy. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced? I mean, it couldn't have always been a smooth silk road to the top. And then what have you learned from those challenges that you might want to share with young entrepreneurs who are looking to follow footsteps that you've been in?
Wow. For me, I'm still on that journey. It's gritty, it's messy. I have to be tenacious. I have to continue to knock at doors. I know that probably the panel knows kind of one of our competitors in Denver. Abada's raised like 240 million. I have raised 600,000 as a woman founded company. Every single time I talk with somebody like a General Mills, I'm out here in California right now at Expo West. I've met with Unilever, Mrs. Myers, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you've built what we need as a brand. So, for me, it's all about this passion that continues to drive me. And I think about my journey. I mean, I'm still hauling my butt, excuse my expression, driving from Boulder to Southern California, where I met with a whole bunch of investors the last 4 days. Now I'm in Anaheim for 5 days. I'm meeting investors in LA and then Monterey and Carmel, and then up to San Francisco in Silicon Valley. And you just got to hustle. You got to work hard. It's messy. It's never like this. Maybe it was for other folks, but if you're not super well connected, which I wasn't, by the way, until I joined Clubhouse, which is really interesting. Once I joined Clubhouse, my world opened up and people started learning about Makeena, investing in us, telling other folks about us, and then it's been a journey. So anyway, that's the mess.
That's good advice, though. Always be grinding, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the joke, right? It's, an entrepreneur is someone who traded a 40-hour work week for an 80-hour work week, right? So, we've all lived that, viewpoint. I mean, people are fascinated when I tell them what I do half of my day, because it's such minutia and it's so unfulfilling to 90% of the people on the planet, but it's fulfilling to me because it's mine and because I built it from scratch. And because I out hustle anybody that wants to try and go head to head with us. And because I don't believe in competition, I believe that it's us trying to be the best version of ourselves when we're doing what we're doing in what we're doing now, which is Seneca. And it's been, it's been really rewarding to see us grow so fast. And, I feel like that band that broke out when, I'm 47 years old, and the last 3 years have been the best 3 years of my life. But it took me 44 years to figure out how I could be successful. And it takes courage. And, I talk to kids at Indiana all the time about my secret sauce. And really, I think it's just curiosity. I mean, if you're curious, then your business is going to grow because you're figuring it out. And if you're curious, like I'm going back to Chicago booth in April for this like mini MBA. I've already been to Harvard to do the same. Like, my kids always ask me like, well, Dad, why do you keep going? Didn't you graduate from college? And I'm like, yeah, but I want to go learn, and I want to learn more, and I want to learn faster. And, that curiosity is what really, I think, separates a lot of entrepreneurs from the other. The second kind of secret sauce that I've taught my kids, if you ask my kids what I do for a living, they'll tell you that I'm a highly paid creative problem solver, because I wanted to teach them that really that's what an entrepreneur is, right? So I found a problem and I solved it. I'm trying to solve the affordable housing crisis in America, which is something that's really important to me. And if you could take an obtuse view of something, or a new way of seeing something in a different light, and then solving that problem either with new ideas or with just gumption, you're going to be a successful entrepreneur.
I've got a lot of scar tissue, over here from starting a company up. And if I could share one story, this was probably one of the roughest chapters in launching our business. Was I actually when I graduated from IU, I had to take a corporate job, and I had to try to build this company that we were starting up at the same time. And so I had to try to figure out a paycheck, and I got engaged, and I was so excited. And 2 weeks before my wedding, my corporate job laid me off, and I had to go to my future in-laws and tell them, hey, like, I don't have a job. I'm going to marry your daughter in 2 weeks, but I got this startup company, and I really believe in it. And I think, I really think this next 6 months to a year, it's going to take off. And, it's really, it's something, inside of you, whether you raise a ton of money or not, but you're just not going to give up on it. And you believe in it with all your heart. It's hard to kind of sell that to somebody, especially your in-laws, right before you're going to marry their daughter. But fortunately, I got married, and fortunately, I stuck with the business. And I think that's the one thing is I just, as bad as things get with this company, or not, I'm just not going to give up. That's not an option, and I'll stick with it until we see it through. And if there's an end in the mind, I don't know what that end looks like. I think it can look a million different ways, but I'm just love this ride.
Totally. I just think it's funny because entrepreneurship and starting your own company always gets painted with a pretty glamorous brush. And I think everyone on this call knows that it is everything but glamorous. I mean, it is just a complete grind. I mean, you need to, as much as I encourage really anyone to explore, starting their own business and or joining an early stage company, I would also say go in eyes wide open, because it's not going to be everything that you think it's going to be. And, for us, we only have 11 minutes left on the call. I could tell you 3 days worth of stories about just shit that went wrong and where we thought the business was going to be done, and almost running out of money several times, and having to shut down a whole strategy and lay off teams as a result, and fire customers, and then bounce back and rebound to what your original basement version of the business was, only to find that you were right all along. And next thing you know, you're cruising, and then you hit COVID, and you're a travel and hospitality company in a pandemic. And for us, my co-founder and I always, every time, challenges are presented to us, which is pretty much always, we look at each other and are like, thank God that we spent the time early on. Like, literally for us, it was in the basement. We spent 4 months in my basement cooking up, the business plan for Evolve and the modeling. And but we spent just as much time on, which we get made fun of because people are like, that seems like the most trivial thing to do when you're in the basement. You don't even know what the business is going to be. But we spent a lot of time on identifying what the mission and values and culture of our company was going to be like. And we, from that day forward, from the day we launched the business, have been maniacal about aligning ourselves and the team around our mission, our vision, and the values of the company. And I think that's what's made it such a durable culture, and a culture that we're enormously proud of. And I think in Denver, I humbly say this, but I think we've become well known for is like, you know, this is a group of now close to 1,000 teammates that are rallied around something that they believe in, and they've all been through as much as Brian and I have been through and been tested along the way and come out the other side, you know, better for it. But I don't know how we would have done it had we not been so intentional about building a culture that was going to be durable enough to withstand everything that gets thrown at you in the journey, because it's a lot and it's overwhelming.
I would definitely echo what Adam just said. I mean, we have been very intentional from the very beginning in creating Makeena. We wanted to become a B certified corporation. And we also follow EOS, which is based on a book, Traction by Gino Wickman. So we spend a lot of time at Makeena thinking about our values and our mission and where we're going to be in a year and 3 years and 10 years, and what does it really look like? And the people that we engage within our company, whether they be contractors or customers or investors, all are along, we hope, are passionate about that vision and mission. And we share our VTO, it's called VTO with EOS, with everybody that we meet with. So thank you, Adam, for reminding me about that. It's really important.
That's incredible. I mean, we thank all of you so much. It's very humbling to be here, and it's a great reminder of how strong the Kelley network is. We have a few minutes left. I didn't know if any of the attendees had any questions. You could put them in the Q&A, and we can answer them here if you all have any. If not, I know some of you at the beginning said you wanted to share contact info, so you could share that now. You could put it in the chat if you'd like. But for the Kelley Denver network, of course, we will keep you all updated. Please make sure that your information's updated in IU systems. They're actually doing a system overhaul right now, so don't try it now. But at midnight, the system should be back up and running. So hopefully sometime tomorrow, if your information's not updated, or you just want to do it for peace of mind, please do that so we can keep in touch with you all. I don't think we have any questions, but if any of our panelists, just first of all, thank you again so much for joining us this evening from all corners of Colorado and also from the corners of the country. So thank you all for being here. If you have any closing remarks, you're welcome to say something. Otherwise, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it.
Hey, I just want to invite anybody that's listening live or later to contact me. My door is always open to students, to IU grads, to Illinois grads even. And you can just find, I mean, my information's anywhere. You can link in with me. You can send me an email, and we'll schedule a time.
Thank you.
Or just, I'd echo that too. Feel free to reach out. Best way is probably just to point you to LinkedIn, and feel free to message me. It's Adam Sherry, Service Creek Partners and Evolve, if you're looking for identifiers there, and would be happy to chat with anyone and help out.
Thank you.
So it looks like we did have one question come through. Sarah, do we have time?
Yep, we have time for one.
Okay, so Connor, thank you for posting. He asks, what's your advice on balance between family and the grind? Does it exist?
Oh boy, Chaz, that was a facial expression. You want to start?
Yeah, it's funny. And actually, one of my IU investors said, he kind of told his story, and he was like, I would never have made it had my wife not had a job. Find a partner that's got a good job. And I'm so fortunate to have a wife who just supports the business, not only just like me personally, but also financially. And that's really the reason why we moved to Colorado was, hey, we wanted to put ourselves in the middle of a playground so that we could find balance and really live the healthy lifestyle that we're encouraging people to live through our business. So yeah, it's definitely tough, but I think Colorado promotes it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's funny when you asked me what I do for fun earlier, I was kind of struggling because, I'm trying to keep up with Adam and build $1 billion business. We had a pretty aspirational goal to launch 5 funds in 5 years and to sell all 5 funds simultaneously for $1 billion in 2024 to 2026. So I've been religiously trying to achieve that objective. Sometimes to the detriment of my fatherhood and my husband duties. But I'm a huge believer in the universe. And I think you will give yourself time back if you are present, no matter what you're doing and how you're doing it. Presence is something, don't let your phone steal your life from you. That's maybe my biggest gift in a way to do that. Regarding balance, when I'm with my kids and my wife, I'm there, I'm not working, I don't have my phone out, I don't have it available. And I work, when they're asleep or when they're doing a soccer practice or, on the weekends when, I've got a free minute. So it's what I call it, I call it my lifestyle. Because when you're an entrepreneur, it's not your job, it's not your career, it's your life. And so you just learn how to bob and weave with your life. And we all go through these troughs and waves where you've got to know where you are in your particular business life cycle for that day or that week, and just give yourself permission to take advantage of that. And then also, the entrepreneurial journey is fraught with mental health options to go down a pretty dark path. And I'd encourage anybody to contact me. My email is just my name, Rhett at rhettrees.com. I'm on the board of Project Helping here in Denver, which really helps with mental health, especially for entrepreneurs. So if there's anything I can do to help with that aspect of the entrepreneurship journey, I'm incredibly vulnerable and I'll try to help in any way I can or just listen. So if there's anybody out there that gets stuck in that particular part of entrepreneurship, I'm happy to be of service.
Great. Well, thank you all for being here. Round of applause for our wonderful panelists and for sharing an hour of their night with us. We really do appreciate it. Just some closing remarks. This is being recorded and it will be shared in the coming weeks. And there will be an email also coming out in the next couple of days for everyone to update their contact information. I know we have a lot of new Denver transplants that are Kelley's. So hoping to capture some more people that have moved to Denver and grow the market here. And hopefully we can share Rhett's Music Festival that's coming up this summer. So we will be sending out emails shortly. But thank you all again for a wonderful event. Thank you to our panelists. And if you haven't watched the game that happened earlier today, go catch the highlights. All right. Thank you all. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Take care.